Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm working on a portrait of Tom Hiddleston as Loki. And I thought that I would make it a how-to video. Because when I started to draw with markers many years ago, I couldn't find any tutorial videos on faces and portraits with markers in general. And I really wanted to learn how to draw that. I've made a good amount of portraits since then, and I'm getting to a point where I'm pretty comfortable doing them. I used to be scared of doing portraits because a lot of things can go wrong, and if it's a gift or a commission, you really want it to look real good. I started out here with a rough sketch, trying my best not to make any bold outlines. If a portrait should look somewhat realistic, you don't want any visible outlines on the mouth or cheeks or nose, of course. Before I start the coloring, I always test my markers on a piece of paper I have next to me. And I usually have all the different colors ready before I start on a new section of the drawing. When I have found all the colors, I go over the section of the drawing I would like to make with an eraser. I'm not erasing it completely, but we still don't want any visible outlines. And now comes the fun part. I like to start with the eyes, because they are the main focus point of a portrait. For this drawing, I mainly use two greens for the eyes and some cool grays for the darkest areas. Then I used a colorless blender for some extra highlight. For the thin lines of the eyes and eyebrows, I used a Copic multiliner 0.03, and I also used a white Jelly Roll pen for additional highlights. One thing to note is that the white in the eyes are never just white. I usually go with cool gray, 7, 5 and 3, going from darkest to light to really blend the colors outward. Usually I go from light to dark, because you can never go back to light if you accidentally went a little too dark. Back when I started out making portraits, I always made the faces small, because it's easier to color them that way, and I didn't have to think about this problem. You see, when you use markers and you go over an area you have already colored, and that part is finished, you get some annoying lines that can be hard to get rid of. It's not impossible, but not exactly easy. Personally, the way I deal with this is to divide the face up in sections, trying to split it up where I know I'm gonna have to make darker shadows so you won't see it. With the skin, I used a pale fruit pink for the base color, and then I used a pinkish white, pale grape, light grape, and a cotton pearl marker for the shadows. Some places I also used warm gray 3 and 5, and I like to go gently over with the markers, just carefully over each section with a marker. Remembering to leave some areas completely white where the light hits the face. And in those areas I use a pale heath marker to give that pink shine. In some parts of the shadows I also use a black pencil just for some extra depth. And as you see later in the video, I also end up using a green pencil for some of the highlights. For his hair I used a black marker and a cool grey 7, blending them together and adding some extra black afterwards. Then I used a colorless blender and a white pencil for some of the smaller streaks of hair. I also used the white Jelly Roll pen again for a few extra highlights. His clothing were actually the easy part of the drawing. It's always something I look forward to do. I enjoy making the small texture in his tie and the wrinkles on his shirt. I also remembered to leave some extra highlight areas on his jacket to give it some extra depth. I wasn't sure if I was gonna give it a background, but decided to make a nice green one. It is Loki after all. And after a few small final details, this drawing was complete. I really hope this video helped you out and gave you some insights in how I use markers for portraits. If you enjoyed watching this video, I would really appreciate if you liked and subscribed, because it really helps out a lot. If you want to see some progress pictures, you can follow me on Instagram. And with that said, I hope to see you all in the next video.